I said we gonna decode this. We ain't gonna stop till we get to the end, cause I think you got some babies, man. I think we got some babies in the bathwater. Let go.
Right. Okay. So anyway, I left off at the Bornstone, and in terms of it being a legal document, and the fact that it should be used as such in conjunction with, in particular, for the elementi about Maorium, Moorish Americans in general. And so this particular legal document, as I said, the Great Geodetic Survey and Family Chronicle, also known as the Book of Blood and Deeds, is Libretto 2, or Part 2 of the Consecrated Talisman, which the Consecrated Talisman, in and of itself, the whole book, is an absolute land conveyance document, legal document, irrefutable and incontrovertible by anyone. And as I said, it is documented and it's archived in the various governmental archives that I mentioned. As I said, also the royal family and the Duchess of Medina Sidonia. And let's see. But anyway, I wanted to go back to the starting from the 1721 treaty. Now, also what's very interesting about that is that this particular treaty was dealing with the issue of extraterritoriality between these two groups of Moors. And many of the treaties that they made during that time were also dealing with the same issue of extraterritoriality in many parts of Europe. So you had treaties between the Moors of Marrakesh and the Moors of Holland in the 1600s, like 1610, 1653, 57, 58.
And all these treaties with these Moabites and Moabite families were all against you, my lord, because they're coming off the Saracen flow. Doom Diverses 1452. Get part 1. Catch up to the drought right here, man. We're going full speed ahead.
And many of these treaties, believe it or not, are still in force, as quiet as it may be kept.
They telling on themselves, boss. If many of these treaties are still kept, that means the same families are still in power. That means it's a guaranteed factual, actual factual, that it is a more war. But who's the greatest one of them all? It's the treasured ones, HALAL. They are behind everything. All of Hollywood entertainment. Jay-Z and Beyonce. He said the Bays. You think she's called Queen Bee for no reason? She's Queen Bey. They are behind everything. Still to this day.
Dealing with the same issue of extraterritoriality in many parts of Europe. So you had
and extraterritoriality is like, it's not even their territory. Remember, the children of Lot want a lot more. They want extra territory. Then they want to call us the foreigners, the barbar, when they are the extraterrestrials, because they want extra territory.
And many of the treaties that they made during that time were also dealing with the same issue of extraterritoriality in many parts of Europe. So you had treaties between the Moors of Marrakesh and the Moors of Holland in the 1600s.
All this is America. Do not think Europe, man. You just said Marrakesh before was like Philadelphia or something like that. Like, get part 1. All these names are American names, right? We're just talking about Morocco. The way you see Morocco is not the way they see Morocco. They see it connected with Illinois and Indiana. They're migrating in the late 1700s when we were at war against the hijack. And this American revolutionary, it's not the white man. These are black people, man. These are Swarthys. Moors. Don't get caught up in this black hole. Islam, Manaka, Islam. Nah, man. Nah, man. Not when y'all migrating on the headbone of Tecumseh and Tenskata HAWAH, the prophet. Not when y'all migrating on Tippecanoe. Stealing 30 million acres of land from Manaka, man. 1809, and y'all want to start migrating, collecting the land, and killing us. And he said all the way up into the Civil War, they were still, running the show. And then he just said a lot of the treaties are still at play. And what happened, man? We still fighting, man. We still fighting. Now they talking about Iran. But, man, look how they worked their way to make sure they got the Americas, all the islands. All the islands. Harbors and seas given to their successors. I mean, descendants. Huh? Everybody's swarthy, man. All of Europe is swarthy, man. So when he's talking Holland and Dutch and Medicash and all this, we're only talking about swarthy, black or tawny, because tawny is still swarthy. Tawny is still black. It's just referring to the copper colorness found here, not brought here. It's already tawny. It's already here. All of Africa, Holy America, exclusive of the new hijacks. But when they came here, the original ones are copper color races found here. Swarthy. Swarthy. Holy of a swarthy complexion. It's more and more. Get part one and get the other parts. This is for the advanced wave servers. Hey, how to the Patreon cons? Lego.
Like 1610, 1653, 57, 58. And many of these treaties, believe it or not, are still in force, as quiet as it may be kept.
Real secretive, man. Secret groups.
So you have treaties between the Moors of Marrakesh and the Moors of Germany, because as you know,
Germany is swarthy. Because they're all swarthy, as are the Germans, man. Because only the Saxons and the English make up the whites. So swarthy also includes these germs, right? That's why they get the derogatory term germs, man. Don't germinate the place.
European system concerning what they call Germany today didn't exist until, I believe it is, 1873, 1874. So we're talking about treaties with the Moors of Germany, Bavaria, also the Moors of Thrace, Bulgaria, Herzegovina, Albania, Serbia. All of these places were actually still a part of the, and still are actually today, a part of the Moorish Empire. So you have treaties between the Moors of Marrakesh and the Moors of Germany, because as you know, the European system concerning what they call Germany today didn't exist until, I believe it is, 1873, 1870.
I'm just listening to the dates. I said pay attention to the date, 1873. By 1873, man, we are still fighting Texas Indian Wars, Comanche Wars, Madoc, research Prince Madoc, get the Hebrew flow, Apache, Cypress Hills, man. Then they invade Moshe, Mexico. all this is still promised land. All this is still India superior. Meshe. I mean, that's unless you just want to talk Paris, man. Paris. Paris. This is the first Paris, Mexico. Cat day. All right. Don't overdrop. Don't overdrop. Let's go. He mentioned 1873, so that's when the real German goes obsolete, and then this new European German, again, Europe is swarthy, right? All of Europe is still swarthy. So the European German is still swarthy. This is what I mean by they speaking in forked tongues. He's referring to the white German. But they're using these names like European as if he don't know, which of course he know that Europe is swarthy. So if I'm decoding, I'm guessing, because they speak so crazy serpent talk, that when he says this European German, he's referring to the so-called white German, which means that this 1940s, Hitler situation, German, it's like the battle of the whites or battle of the incubator babies, the replacement Germans, because all of these swarthies in Europe are replaced today. Now somebody's coming from Spain, they, look white, right? Italians are white and French are white. Russians are now white. Swedes are white. Sweden. The Germans are super white because you're thinking about all the Hitler stuff, and you know what I mean? the you-ish, right? The ishes. So we're thinking about all that German thing that happened in 1940, 47. But that was less than 100 years after it was all swarthy. So they set their incubator babies to repopulate all this, is what I'm saying. I mean, how else could it be, right? Even parts of Africa, a lot of Asia, because all this was black, because tawny is black. So where's the real China? In 1500, this is a map of America. Let's just slow it down. I don't want to over drop it. If this is China, Cathay, the Great Khan of China, in the 1500s, we know it's swarthy. Look at these swarthy Nagas in, South America or Antarctica, however you see it. Caribs, and Japan is right here next to the swarthies. Everything is swarthy until they put it over there and did a phantom and duplication on that side of the world and duplicated China, duplicated Japan, everything, Egypt, everything, India, everything, because this is India superior. And this is Asia major. This is not North America. And even in that sense, North America is just Africa to the more. Everything's swarthy. They have repopulated everything. This is why I always, connect this this series, this information, this classroom with the incubator baby talk, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Like, that's connected to the Moors, man. You can't talk Moors without talking incubator baby, because that's technology from Atlantis and all that other hijack. They've been cloning. They've been doing this, man. Nothing's new under the sun. So these new Germans, man, aren't so new. They're just more duplications. They duplicate everything. They flip it. They add the artificial, the synthetic to the natural. They are the coming together of opposites. They are the alchemical serpent. Because everything is swarthy. We got to start talking more incubator baby drop, man. we see clearly, man.
24. So we're talking about treaties with the Moors of Germany, Bavaria, also the Moors of Thrace, Bulgaria, Herzegovina, Albania, Serbia. All of these places were actually still a part of the, and still are actually today, a part of the Moorish Empire, but also under the Moorish Ottoman or Ottoman rule, which I'm going to get into in a little while in terms of the expansion of the Ottoman Empire. And what's very interesting about that is that in the 1492 period of Spain, when they talk about, the Moors falling in Spain and this, that, and the other, and it was the fall of the empire, that's not accurate or completely accurate, in that the Moorish Ottoman Empire at that time, 1492, and even going back 50 years before that or prior to that.
Oh, don't tell yourself, because 50 years before that, you were in 1442 leading up to 1452 Papal Bull.
Was expanding, as I said, all the way from Anatolia and the Crimea to as far as the Americas. In fact, the expansion after the head of Satan was taken, in fact, Prophet Ali talks about that in the 101 questionnaire. I believe it's questions 83 and 84, where he talks about the head of Satan being taken. What's interesting about that is
who would they call the head of Satan? he said 40 years, 50 years before 1492. When 1452, and they're at war with the Saracens and any unbelievers, they will call you Satan. Because you are the adversary, so they say we're going to vanquish them, capture them, and invade. Saracen. Who's the head? Who's the head of Satan, I mean, this is a Saracen's head. Would they consider the Saracen Satan? Like, would they consider you Satan? Is that why they can take any enemies of Christ that is Satan? Whether you in Africa or the New World? Because you are native and non-Christian? Now we got a church on every corner. You think it's by coincidence? Or did they invade what they called Satan? Wouldn't they call the dragon Satan? But the dragon just means to see clearly. But in Revelations, he's Satan. But Satan is just an adversary. And if they're invading you, would you be their adversary? Does this declaration of 1452 was, Uriel Bay's kicking? He's explaining events in 1492. He said, man, 50 years earlier, we was doing this. And they cut the head of Satan. Anything non-Zeus, non-Jupiter, anything that they decide to invade and steal their kingdom might be considered their adversary. One who plots against another might be the same people that they want to cut off from being a nation. Would they consider the treasured one Satan? And who's the king of the treasured ones? King David. Would they consider King David Satan? The house of David Satan? Would they consider Prester John Satan? And are they saying they cut Prester John's head off, or are they saying they cut off, perhaps one of his lineage, I'm saying, one of his sons, one of the other Davids that they considered to be the head of Satan, the head of the Israelites. The exarch is the head or leader of Israel during this captivity, Babylonian captivity. Research who the exarchs are. They make one consent against you. Do they make a covenant? Do they make a covenant against you because they want to invade you, search out, capture you, and vanquish you? Subdue all Saracens. What they consider Israel, Satan, man. Moab in it, Ishmael in it, What they consider Tecumseh Satan. Would Tecumseh be Satan? Would the Arab proper be Satan to them? Would this be the adversary? Is that why Ishmael aren't real rabbi, lawgivers, lawkeepers, code keepers? And because of that, they adopt real lawgiver customs and intermarry with genuine code-keeping sisters so that they can suddenly be considered genuine, but they are musty rabs. And this Catan, who was called Gerhum, right? A son of Catan, is who they married, a woman of the tribe of Gerhum, because she was a son of Catan, who was the son of Eber. Gerhum is the grandson of Eber. So they marry, Ishmael married a woman of Eber, a granddaughter of Eber, to become a member of the proper a rabbi. But they're not originally a rabbi. They are pretending to be rabbi. They are pretending to be the true Arab, Israel. Is that why they will call you Satan? So that your name is no more in remembrance, so that they cut you off from being a nation? What they call the treasure, are they against the treasure ones? Do they hate the Creator? Hold crafty converse against who they call adversaries? Are the treasured ones their adversaries? Do they plot against us, and do they consider us plotting against them? Right? Are they the op? Are they calling us ops by calling us Satan, man? And do we see clearly how they are slaying our dragon with the coming together of opposites?
I guess we can look at it, from the symbolic sense, in terms of so-called Roman rule, but actually what they call the Byzantine Empire didn't really exist. It was what is known today as Romania, Transylvania, etc. And I know Transylvania, of course, will conjure memories of or thoughts of Count Dracula, that kind of thing. And what's very interesting is that...
Nah, man, I can't let you do it. Can't do it. I'm not trying to overdrop, man. I'm just saying, like, what year did the Byzantine Empire fall, man? You just said they don't exist. Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. He just said they don't exist, so that they are no more in remembrance. This is word magic. He admits to doing magic. He admits to Moorish magic. and talking to these people and just claiming like we don't exist for Ham and Kush, for Ham and Kush. No Shem, no Byzantine. And what year is the Byzantine Empire taken out? 1453. 1 year after the 1452 Doom Diverses. I can't make this stuff up, my nigga. I can't make this stuff up. He gonna say it's just Romania, Transylvania. But the Romania comes from the Romani, which connects to the Hebrew pomegranate. The Romani Hebrew word. Oh man, you know what it is. Oh man, meaning I gotta spell it out. AI. The Romans stole the word Ramon from the pomegranate. Pomegranate was proof that they were in the promised land. Joshua and Caleb found the pomegranate. It's proof of the promised land. They took the title of the promised land and put it on themselves, just like they took the title Prester and the title Khan. They want to erase us, right? They want to put Morocco right here in India Superior. But who's Prester John? Now we got a different memory, man, because y'all trying to erase us from being a nation. Y'all want the name of Israel to be no more remembered. So he gonna say the Byzantine don't exist when it's the same place that was struck first by the Doom Diverses 1452. And when you go into the Byzantine, then you can connect to the tribe of Moses because it's going to connect to Mazaka and Mosak and Cappadocia and Khazaria. And the original name is Mosak, Moses, Mosak, the founder, which they swerved it to Mazaka and then swerved it to Khazaria. But the original name of the Khazar or Caesar, right? Caesar salad. You want a Caesar salad? A Khazar salad? It's a Mazaka salad. It's a Mosak salad. It's the foundational, intriguing ancestor, foundational legend. So they erased it. So you don't connect to the Moshe flow of the Byzantine. Has everything to do with Mexico and the Mexica. Khan, the Mexican, Mexican, it's Mexican. Saracens or Saracens. That's what they invaded. Talking about. There ain't no Byzantine right in your face, though. Talking about the Romans when it's a Hebrew word. Roman is Hebrew word. Promised land. Talking about the Byzantine like it don't exist when they took it down 1 year after the Papal Bulldogs to take down all y'all. Who? The Saracen. Who? The Saracen. The Arab proper. Who? Israel. Cut them off from being a nation. That the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. Let the Moabite talk and watch the Serpent talk and dodge all hijacks at all costs.
There was this part of the Moorish Empire was in 1453 around that time was invaded by a Roman horde and led by a particular clan, the Dracul family, which was later known as Dracula or the family of Dracula.
Now we got the dragon talk. Pay attention.
And Vlad Dracul was Count Dracula, or actually Prince Dracula's father. And Vlad Dracul, who was a member of the Secret Order of the Devil, a so-called secret society, they were the leaders of this particular Roman horde who had invaded this part of the Moorish Empire. And so
the Roman horde who invaded this part of the Moorish, not more, because more means great. They're calling themselves great-ish, and the Roman horde are the Hebrews, led by Vlad or led by this dragon, because he sees clearly. And they don't want you to see clearly, because then you are the adversary, you're the opposition, because you got the glance, and it's deadly to them because you paralyze them with your light, clarity. Because you see clearly, it paralyzes the real devil, the real demon. The devil likes to call you the devil. He's telling the story from the Moabite perspective. Vlad's the bad guy. Dracula's the bad guy, right? This is what they put in the movies to brainwash us. But the dragon is seeing clearly. The dragon is the one with the glance they call deadly. The dragon, man, is Swarthy, man. More importantly, it is a male or woman. It's a person. It's a person that sees clearly. And just like they say here, it's the one with the deadly glance. It says here that it's the one that is fierce and violent, right? Fierce, violent, or deadly, you make it up. But it is paralyzing. It stops the hijack right in their tracks. Your sight, your ability to see clearly is deadly or fierce or violent. Male or female, this man or woman is a dragon, is a meteor, Comet Atlas, okay. Dragon is dragon. The C's and G's are interchangeable in the ancient Hebrew. Drakan, ka. Drake is drakan. They turn it to a G. It's drakan. Ka. Ka. That's why they want to slay the dragon. That's why all they want to do is create the opposites to slay the dragon, man. So Dracula's bad. The Roman hordes are invading them. But you don't know that you're the real Romani. Who they're calling Roman back then, the Byzantine, and all this, are the Hebrews that they took out in 1453. Because of the 1452 Doom Diverses. They are the Saracens. They are you. They are Israel. Hasharah. They are the Saracen. They are the Arab. Proper. And my naga, I can't make this up. And that's why Ishmael's mad. And that's why Ishmael is migrating. 1785 on the headbone of Tecumseh with false harmonics, causing an ice age. Right in the midst of the Chickamauga War. And Moorish treaties. I can't make this stuff up, boss.
Shortly thereafter, you had what has become known in history as the Ottoman Wars. And so it was during this time, 1453, where the head of Satan was taken, and the head of Satan was...
Okay, 1453, just put a date on it. And we just established that 1453 is when they took out the Byzantine. And the Byzantine, for my wave surfers, man, The Making of Christian Communities in Late Antiquity and the Middle Ages by Mark F. Williams, man. Pull it up. All the links are below. So we're going to talk about Philostratus, remained in Cappadocia since eventually he moved to Constantinople. In his ecclesiastical history, Philostratus was hence both ecumenical and local. He included many tidbits of odd information about biblical events and the Roman, remember we're just talking Romani, and he was interested in legends about Cappadocia. When he mentioned Mazaka, listen up. When he mentioned Mazaka, the original name for the city that eventually became Khazaria. Now you got Caesar. Now you got a Caesar salad. But before that, it's Mazaka. But listen up. He noted that this name was derived from Mosa, the founder of the Cappadocians. So who are they considering the main the main adversary, their main Satan, right? The head of Satan, right? Because I think they consider all of Israel Satan to them. Mosach is an intriguing primal ancestor. His name suggests some sort of Shemitic derivation. Semitic, right? But we don't talk about Mosach, but we do call him Moses. And his reputation as a founder of the Cappadocians seems to hint at a foundational legend. Foundational legend. Mosach can't be foundational if he's not involved in everything you know today. But Moses is foundational because he's involved in the backbone of the Ten Commandments, of the of the entire Tanakh, like, all the law. Foundational legend for that region, the region that was older than the adaptation of Greek myths, man. Before their Jupiter and Mars and all this Greek myths, Moses is older than that, older than the adoption of Greek HIJACK, man. Unfortunately, he remains completely obscure. Philostrates, in fact, knew so little about the legend that he could not match up the consonants and the vowels in order to make sense of the postulated etymological link between the city's name of Mazaka and Mosach's name. So he shrugged and invented a makeshift phonetic transfer. After the passage of time, the city was called Mazaka through a swerving in the later Roman Empire. All that survived of whatever legend there may have been, all that survived. Come and let us cut them off from being a nation so the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. 1453, 1452, reduce these Saracens, Satan, in their eyes, adversaries, ops, to perpetual slavery. Take their kingdoms, dukedoms, principalities, invade them, put them in perpetual slavery, and give it to your successors, all your things. Descendants. Now apply to apply and appropriate to himself. Now apply to the descendants, right? Successors. So all that remained because they cut you off from being a nation. Managa, this is what transpired before this so-called revolution. That means you were still fighting them off before they just went to full out hijack clone war on us. Sent their clones, sent their incubator babies. We had to fight whites. Right. Literally. We had to fight things and demons and creatures. He's calling them cretins. We had to fight demons, but these demons are calling us Satan, calling the dragon that sees clearly. You calling us Satan? You calling us adversary? Like we plotting against you when you're cutting us off and being a nation, when you're consulting together against the treasured ones. And we're your ops because you're acting like we plotting against you. You want to play the victim, so you send your demons. Satan sends their demons and then calls us Satan. It's crazy. And they send them to invade, search out, vanquish all these Nagas. 1452. Byzantine goes down 1453. Byzantine, now we're talking Mazakin, Khazaria, Cappadocia. And they cut us off from being a nation, so we lost memory. So that the name of Israel may be no more in memory and remembrance. So the myth of Moses, the founder, was a lost memory, a fragment of an abandoned past, a casualty of the adoption of Greek mythology, or the imposition of Roman rule, or the expansion of Christianity, because they went after the enemies of their Christ. Christ means anointed in the Greek, right? So who's their Christ? Jesus. Jesus, huh? Jesus, right? In Spanish, we're talking Spaniard. How do they say Jesus? Jesus. By accident? No. We're talking about phonetics. So Mosok, the founder, was a lost memory, a fragment of the abandoned past, a casualty of the adaptation of Greek mythology, imposition of Roman rule, expansion of Christianity in a Greek, Roman, or Christian society. Mosok, Moses, the real Mosok, Moses, the founder, had become meaningless. Birdman head rub, man. Their interpretations link their communities and ecclesiastical history back to JC, with the biblical history back into the Old Testament, and even with creation itself. They swerved it all, but we're just talking the Byzantine. Mosok, the founder. Cappadocia. It's real dope, you know, always got some babies in the bathwater. We were dropping this, man, right off the balcony. So now we see how it became a fragment of the past. How it was taken out 1 year after the Papal Bull. And we see who the enemy is. Who plots. Who's plotting against who, right? And take counsel against your treasure ones. Who's plotting against who? And who's the real white? Who's the real demon? And who's Benjamin Franklin calling the principal body of whites? Because everyone else is Swarthy. But don't act like no Swarthy people can't be your enemies, right? So he's talking about it from an enemy perspective. Because again, you're just talking Moab.
Was actually Dracula's father that Mehmed II, or Muhammad the Conqueror, took. And so, I think it was shortly thereafter that Prince Dracula was killed by the Moors during the war in 1462.
Killed by the Moors. Okay. So that means they got one of the Khans, one of the princes. They say Moab killed a prince of Israel. Let's go.
And so after this, as I said, what it did was that it opened up the empire beyond belief. And so it was still flourishing in many parts of the globe, as I said, all the way to the Americas.
So by killing this prince, it opened it up for them. And they started coming up.
In Brutium, as well as Mauritania, Algeria, which is...
All this is America.
Is known to you today as Minnesota.
Bang.
Algeria was also known. Minnesota, its ancient name was Numidia. I know many of the Moors, like Brother Asir, had talked about the Moors being known as Numidians at one time. And prior to that, they were known as Anamim. Prior to that, they were known as Gaetuli, or of the Gaetulian family. They were also known as Gadamantes. These were many of the names by which the Moors were known. They were the Patrusim, the Kasluhim. They were the Lubim, as I mentioned earlier. But as I said, this was in Numidia, which had opened up. You also had in Libya, which, as I said earlier, is Barca, Chicago. All of these areas opened up as a result of what took place in Istanbul, so-called Constantinople, 1453, believe it or not.
Woo! Constantinople, right. All the way to Chicago. Yeah, man. Yeah. Constantinople, huh? All this, all we had to do is just, do the recon with a dragonfly perspective and see clear. So all this in the fall of the Byzantine in 1453, 1 year after the Papal Bull, opened up Chicago, which is why you see Ishmael migrate. Illinois, all the way up to the Michigans. It opened it up because they started taking out the princes and the royals. So that 300-year Continental War just continued and continued. And I'm saying, my Naga, this is the continuation, like the finale of the Great War, more and more. And they got our own people, our own Choctaw Nagas and Muskogee Nagas and other Nagas to fight against the Chickamauga. They got other Cherokee to fight against the Chickamauga because they promised them peace and they promised them friendship. This was their last alliance. At the same time, Tecumseh was trying to make his own alliance of Hebrews to fight the HIJACK Moor, get them off of here, man. This is the real white, the Moor, Rocco, not the Khan, because there ain't no Khan. This is the real white, man. And they tricked us to thinking that white is like a color and black is a color, but black is white and white is black. This is how the forked tongue works, man. Because black is wicked. If black is atrociously wicked and horrible, mournful, calamitous, that is the same thing as white. Because a white is a demon, wicked. A demon is wicked, and a black is wicked. It's not color, man. It is black ass King Charles, man, who stole the Romani title for himself. And all this was after the fall of the Byzantine, where it opened everything up for them, and they started migrating, planting their hijack harmonics, man. Oh, the tribe of Ishmael had exuberant musical tradition, all of its own, really. While they take out the Fort Wayne Treaty of 29,719,530 acres of Naga native land.